Welcome back to the 58th ever episode of the Iced Coffee Hour podcast. My name's George, and so far, the podcast has made $69,435.
He said 69.
That's incredible.
That is incredible.
I think that was the best one we've ever seen on the podcast.
Are you serious, really?
I am not joking at all.
I felt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm serious. And by the way, we are so close to 69,420.
No, are we really?
69,435.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, George.
Always. Thanks for having me.
This has been really exciting because I kid you not, I have watched your channel for, honestly, since you were probably 10,000-ish subscribers. And right now your channel is approaching 900,000 subscribers where you talk about aquarium fish, reef keeping, saltwater aquarium husbandry, and you travel the world just showcasing some of the most exotic, expensive fish and coral out there. How did you start doing this? Because I found your channel in a college dorm room, and you had like a little nano tank with a clownfish and an anemone in there, right?
Yeah, so this hobby started for me in actually middle school, I believe. So I was 10 years old, and I just really wanted a fish tank. And my mom took me to a fish store, and she's like, you know, these fish are all freshwater, but I think you should use saltwater. And that was really interesting because most people don't even know the difference between freshwater, saltwater aquariums. They just go to their local Petco or something and pick something up. So we went to a saltwater fish store. I got my first 12-gallon reef tank, which is saltwater, which means you get to keep things like corals, much more like exotic fish and different invertebrates. And so then basically what happened was I got really addicted to like keeping the coral. You know, that was sort of what hooked me into the hobby because I just found it so fascinating the way coral grows. If you can grow it, you can cut it, and then you can sell it to other hobbyists. And you can actually make a good amount of money doing it, as you saw from, as you've seen now being in the hobby yourself, how much corals go for. So that like really piqued my entrepreneur-minded, young George. And that's kind of what got the ball rolling for me to just sort of like dive really deep into the world of aquariums.
It's weird that a parent would tell their child, let's go saltwater.
It's bizarre. It's like the most, my mom is, totally crazy for doing that. It's a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Most parents, they just want to get their kid the quick and easy thing. Yeah. The goldfish.
Yeah. The beta fish.
My mom was like, we're going to get you like the baller, like best, coolest thing you can possibly do. And it's crazy because if she hadn't done that, like I always wonder if I got into freshwater, who knows, maybe I would have just, phased out of it after a few months or gotten bored.
Why was that? Is she like a total fanatic for the saltwater aquarium?
Maybe she just has a lot of money.
Is
more money, and she's just like, how do I get rid of it as fast as possible? Oh, here's the saltwater aquarium. Let's bring that out.
No, my dad definitely was. I don't think he quite understood the hobby or what was going on at the time. But my mom's just like amazing for that reason. Like she has always encouraged us to just like go all out and go to be the best at whatever we try to do. And I didn't learn this until like many years later, but my mom actually kept saltwater aquariums with her dad, my grandpa, growing up.
That was it.
Yeah, that was it. So what's interesting though is back when she was keeping them, they could only have saltwater fish. Like the technology wasn't around to keep coral alive. So it was actually kind of a new thing for her too, to like walk back into a saltwater aquarium store and be like, wait, you can keep coral now? And so, that's really why.
Yeah. So what was your first tank?
My first tank was, it was called the 12-gallon nano cube. And that's where my name CoralFish12g comes from. 12
I wondered
gallons.
about that. Okay.
Yeah. And it's interesting with aquariums, you'd think that the smaller they are, the easier they keep, but it's actually the opposite. So the smaller the reef aquarium, the harder it is to take care of because the chemicals, you have less room for error, right? Because you only have such a small water volume. It's like if you were to take a drop of poison and like put it in there, there's no room for like it's going to kill everything. Yeah. Versus if you were to take a drop of poison and like throw it in the ocean, it won't even notice. Right? Got it. So the bigger the aquarium, actually the easier. So it was very challenging and I failed in so many different ways. Like I went through all the pests. I went through pretty much every problem you can imagine as a young kid too. And then after about 2 years of that, and killing a decent amount of coral, I figured out how to keep coral alive and how to get my tank just to look amazing. And then that's when I took to YouTube to teach other people how to not make the same mistakes I made.
Yeah. What made you post YouTube videos?
Oh,
How old were you? This was freshman year?
no, this was middle school. Even like, I think
You're posting YouTube videos in middle school?
I was, yeah, I've been
Really?
doing this a long, yes. I started my channel in 2010. I remember.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah. But I think I posted probably my first video in like 2011 or 2012. And at first it was just videos of my fish tank, because I just wanted to see what people thought of them. And that's sort of what YouTube was back then. It was just like a place where you like put stuff to see like what happened. Then I saw there were like other people teaching about aquariums, and I looked up to them, and then that inspired me to like, start giving my advice and my 2 cents on everything in the hobby.
Yeah. I remember when I was in middle school, I had an aquarium, and you would think that it's like this nerdy hobby. But anytime someone would come over, it was like, whoa, look at the fish. And everyone was enamored by it. Everyone loved it.
Yeah. It was sort of interesting for me because I also played basketball growing up, actually into college even. So I played college basketball as well. And so my whole life, this happened was more in high school, where I realized, I started thinking like, hey, maybe I should like give up this aquarium thing. Cause I was like the starting point guard, varsity basketball team, supposed to be like this jock, right? Then I had this like weird side hobby of keeping like super nerdy saltwater aquariums, and like no one knew about it in high school. So
You didn't share it with people?
No, I didn't.
Were you
Why?
embarrassed of it?
Yeah, I mean, like, you guys have to remember, like, YouTube back then was not cool. It just wasn't what it is today.
That's
like,
true.
Now
Yeah.
everybody wants to be a YouTuber. Like, I think I remember seeing that the number one sought after job by kids
Yeah.
is YouTuber. But back then it was not cool, especially not aquariums, at least. I didn't think so. And so, I mean, I told like a few of my closest friends knew about it, but most people did not know.
Did you have a following at that time?
I had maybe in high school. So what happened was right around high school, I think I had like a couple thousand subscribers. And I remember thinking like, what if people see this, what's going to happen?
I thought the same thing.
If people are going to start making fun of me and stuff. And so I considered stopping it. But then what actually kept me in it was I started receiving checks from YouTube. I was receiving like a couple $100 a month.
That's pretty good.
For a high schooler, that's like
really good.
for high schooler. Yeah.
Some YouTube videos. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, well, if anyone makes fun of me for this, I'm just going to tell them to go kick rocks because I'm making money from it.
Yeah.
So that was going to be like my way of justifying it. Yeah. And then I also started, like, companies started reaching out even back like that early, and they were sending me free product. And that was epic for me as a young kid because aquarium's very expensive. And so like receiving free lights and free equipment was really cool. So, yeah. Then what happened was I went off to college, kind of a clean slate. I committed to go play basketball at a very small school called Lawrence University in Appleton, Wisconsin, which is about 3 hours north of where I grew up in Chicago. And I remember I had 10,000 subscribers my freshman year of college, and my best friends were actually baseball players.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the end of the year that like the way my best friend found out was I had accidentally left one of my business cards. Like it just was like laying out in the hallway or something.
How
like
embarrassing.
Well, I don't know. I didn't know what was going to
Continue.
happen, but basically he texted me a photo of the card, and he's like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Oh man, everyone's about to know about this."
Oh
Within a
my
week,
gosh.
everyone at the college knew that I was,
And how
doing
was it?
YouTube.
Was it as bad as you thought
No,
it would
it
be?
wasn't. It wasn't. Actually, a lot of people thought it was really cool. And even my best friends were like, dude, this is epic. Like, why didn't you tell us about this? Like, this is sick. You got 10,000 subscribers. Like, so that felt good, but, and it encouraged me to keep doing it. I also brought my fish tank to college. My freshman year, I only had one. By my senior year, I had 15.
15 tanks?
My dorm room, yeah. I had almost 15, I think 13 or 14 fish tanks in my dorm room. And I had like all the most exotic animals. So it was like you would walk into my dorm room and it was a public
It's like a
aquarium.
zoo.
Yeah, it was like a zoo. You had like seahorses, clownfish, mantis shrimp, like planted tank, just like all sorts of exotic stuff.
That's cool. I was the same way. I didn't tell anyone about my YouTube channel at all.
It's a scary feeling. Yeah.
Still on Facebook. I've never posted about the YouTube channel.
Oh, I've never told my friends about my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
They found out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, over time they found out, but it made me more worried knowing that like my friends were watching, and I would feel like I'd hold myself back because I knew like, oh, they're watching me. What if I say something bad?
Yeah,
but everyone's so supportive.
At least for me, I mean, if you weren't into aquariums, you might just be like, oh, it's cool, and then just kind of brush it off. So I had that advantage. Yours is a little bit more personal, right? So yeah.
But when you were making these videos, how many other people were making reef aquarium videos? Were you one of the first ones?
But first, I want to thank our sponsor, Ladder. I want to talk for a minute about things that have fundamentally changed the way we live. These are disruptors, things like smartphones, streaming services, whiter than white paint that actually cools down buildings, electric vehicles, and even YouTube. Another one I heard of recently is a company called Ladder, who basically took the life insurance industry, flipped it upside down, and shook out the inefficiencies. Before Ladder, if you wanted to get life insurance, you'd have to drive across town, sit through a sales pitch, fill out a ton of paperwork, and then wait 6 to 8 weeks to find out if you've been approved. You'd also receive a zillion phone calls from agents trying to bundle your life insurance with other things like car insurance. Now with Ladder, you can get fast, affordable term life insurance without leaving home. It's 100% digital when you apply for $3 million or less in coverage, no doctors, no needles, no paperwork. So if you're between the ages of 20 to 60, need coverage, and want to team up with a company that's redeeming life insurance, choose Ladder. I know that when I went through the process of getting quotes through Ladder, it was so fast and easy, and I didn't need to dig out a bunch of old paperwork. Go to ladderlife.com/iced coffee today to see if you're instantly approved. That's LADDER life.com/iced coffee. Ladderlife.com/iced coffee. Thank you so much, Ladder, for sponsoring this episode, and back to the podcast.
I think a lot of people in my industry, or at least in the YouTube, aquarium YouTubes, I would consider myself one of those OG aquarium YouTubers. I wasn't the first to it by any means, but I was in it very early on. Eventually, so every year of college, my channel grew. It actually doubled. So freshman year, 10,000, sophomore year, 25, junior year, 50. And then my senior year, I got to 100, actually ended up surpassing 100. But and just basically what happened was like, because I was playing college basketball, that was my focus all throughout middle school, high school, was like, how do I play college basketball? So I was very, very driven and focused on that first. And then the aquariums and YouTube was sort of like a side hobby. And it was just like some side income. I didn't really start taking it seriously until probably my junior, senior year of college, when, a lot of companies started noticing and they started flying me out to aquarium conventions, to do marketing. And then it wasn't really until, and I always wanted to do YouTube full time. Like I always thought like being a YouTuber would be like the coolest thing. I think I would have, even back then as a young kid, considered it my dream job. It's just, I never thought that it could be a full-time income, like a full-time job. I think there's a big misconception with a lot of small YouTube creators where they don't realize that how close they are, how achievable it is to make YouTube a full-time job. They think like, I remember thinking, oh, those big YouTubers, like, the ones with over 1 million or 5 million, like somehow they can, they're making a lot of money from it. But I didn't realize at the time that other creators with 50 or even only 100,000 subscribers, even sometimes with like 10, 25,000 subscribers, can, through affiliates or through brand deals or through just like dominating their niche, earn a full-time living. So it wasn't until my senior year when like another aquarium YouTuber actually messaged me and this was like, so like this like literally rewired my brain.
Yeah.
No, I can't. But it was an aquarium YouTuber who was making like, I think he sent me because I had my first viral video my senior year, and then I started getting like a lot of attention. A lot of other creators were like bigger creators were reaching out, and I was starting to like meet them and talk to them and stuff. He's like, why aren't you doing this full time? I'm like, what do you mean? Like I can't make enough money to do this full time. I can't even go to my parents and I wouldn't even dare go to my parents and say like I could do this because it just wouldn't be enough. Because at that time I was making like throughout most of college, I was making about $1,000 a month. So I was like $12,000 a year. Like I can't do that.
Yeah. But
then after my first viral video, it clicked. Like my senior year, I had my first viral video, which was don't buy live fish off the dark web. And that got 5 million views.
Why? Why shouldn't you buy fish off the dark web?
I don't know. You got to watch, Graham.
But you have to explain it because now we have an entire audience that's going to click out of this video, go watch that.
And thank you for putting this title card right here into the video.
No, we don't use title. It's bad for the algorithm.
Is it actually?
Yeah, it is. Because very few people ever click out of a title card. Think of it. I mean, if you're watching a video,
It's true.
Have you ever, when they say, "Oh yeah, middle of the video, peak suspense," click the title card, go watch another video. It works against you because that's a click against the out. Like any option that people don't follow through counts against you for the algorithm.
All right,
So
we're
that's
throwing
one
the
of
link in the description, everyone. Go check
The
it
link
out.
will be
watch-
in the description.
that you could watch later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
So the
but-
idea was
Yeah.
the idea was you know, how can I, and this is also what was like a turning point for my channel, was how do I get more people interested in aquariums? Like, how do I get the mainstream interested in learning about aquariums, fish, or, you know, conservation with different marine animals, which that's, you know, a later part of what I do. But, and I realized, okay, I really need these viral ideas where, so I thought, okay, what's the scariest fish you could possibly unbox? Like, what's the scariest fish you guys could
The
think of
angler.
right now? Well, yeah, you're a reef.
Yeah.
guy. Jack, what about you? What's like the scariest
what,
fish?
Scary in what regard?
What would
Like
you not want to be in the water with?
a great white shark,
Or
a tiger shark?
besides sharks?
Stingray.
Yeah, I wouldn't want a jellyfish. Maybe
Amazon. Think about the Amazon. Piranha.
Oh yeah.
You wouldn't want to be in the water with piranha. There's this big misconception of piranhas because of movies and even sharks too.
Yeah.
And I've made a lot of videos about sharks and with the same logic that, you know, the movies, the media make sharks, piranhas, a lot of these animals out to be like villains, very scary, when really like piranhas are so timid and shy. They're very, very like,
But they're like coyotes, where like one is timid and shy, but then when you have a pack of them, they just go
That smell
crazy.
blood in the water. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen
if
those
they're
things where
hungry,
it's,
yes, but if you keep them in your aquariums, like, they're more scared of you than you are them.
I've seen some where they put like a fish in a piranha tank, like a little like half-eaten fish, and they just rip this thing apart. It's nuts.
Yes, but if you put like a whole human hand in the tank, they're more likely to go hide because you're like a bigger animal than they are, unless they're in like a massive swarm in the Amazon. But regardless, that the video was basically unboxing piranhas and teaching people how to take care of them in their aquariums, all about them, the misconceptions. And they are like, I mean, they're not they are dangerous animals. Like, you wouldn't want to, like you guys said, be in the Amazon River swimming with piranhas. But I've also heard from a lot of people that they've walked like through like piranha infested waters, like no problem. So, I mean, it goes both ways. But yeah, after my first viral video and I saw how many views I got, I saw how much I got paid for it.
How much you get paid for it?
I think I got like, at least that first month, I got like $5,000-$6,000.
Okay.
Which for a college
five-
student,
yeah,
you're like
5 million views.
You're like ready
Okay.
to go to the casino, man. You're
Right.
just like, you're rich. So, and I was like, oh, okay, this is what people want to watch. This is why people watch this. And this is how much you make when you nail it, right? When you hit it on the head and you go viral. And so, and then since then, I've just been able to sort of recreate that viral formula. And I've been able to just have lots of viral videos since I graduated college, which was 2 years ago. And I've been able to turn it into a full-time, living, which I never thought I could do.
What's your formula for a viral video? I'm curious from your perspective because you've had some videos just go nuts.
Yeah, I have. And like, for me, it's all about, I think there is a golden rule to going viral. There's a lot of people who think, I think if you ask the average person, they'd say, oh, viral, you threw a video of your dog up on Facebook and it went viral. Like, no, I think there's a very, there's a formula to viral. I think there's a golden rule. And the golden rule is that you need to make people feel an emotion. You need to make people feel like happy, scared, anxious, something to the point where they take that piece of content and then they share it. Because as humans, it's built into our DNA. Like, when you feel something really intense, a powerful emotion, what do you want to do? You want others to feel that same way. Like, when you watch something funny, you want to share it so that, your friend or your husband or wife or whatever, feels that as well. So I think that's just I think that's what viral is when you can really get someone's emotions to change, and you can kind of impact the way that they're feeling, because then they'll share it, and then and so I think that's a very powerful thing.
So for you, what does that look like? Because
But first, I want to thank our sponsor, Surfshark. Nowadays, more than ever, we are spending so much time online. For me, I just love to watch YouTube videos, check the price of whatever coin the internet seems to be going on about, and see what Papa Elon is sharing on his Twitter. And trust me, the internet knows a lot about us, and that is exactly why we should care about our online data. That's where Surfshark comes in. Surfshark is a VPN that encrypts your data when you're browsing online so that no one else can see your personal information. And since they keep no logs, not even Surfshark can see what you've been up to online. I also love using Surfshark for streaming. Let's say I wanted to watch Rick and Morty on Netflix. Well, you see, in the United States, it's actually not available. But if I use Surfshark to change my location to the United Kingdom, I'm now able to watch Rick and Morty wherever I go. This means you can also change your location to other countries on your favorite streaming sites and see a whole new list of shows to choose from. Get started today by clicking the link in the description and use the code ICEDCOFFEE for 83% off and 3 extra months for free. And if you don't love it for any reason, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. Again, just click the link in the description and use the code ICEDCOFFEE to get 3 months for free. Thank you so much, Surfshark, for sponsoring this episode, and back to the podcast.
my favorite video from you was the stingray one. It was the stingray breeder
In Singapore.
Yeah. That didn't make me... I mean, I was more curious.
Explain the plot of the video.
You want to explain it? Or you want me to explain it from a viewer's perspective?
Yeah, why don't you explain?
You went to this... It looks like this guy's house. And we should throw, by the way, Alex, let's throw some like B-roll over top of it. We went to this guy's house. We went to. I say that.
Graham was
I
there.
say this as if I was there. I may as well have been. You filmed first person. Oh no, did you film first person?
It's so funny you say that because
Yeah.
I very intentionally try to make my videos feel like the viewer is there, like taking the tour with me.
Yeah.
I use different like angles and different like lenses to give the viewer that feeling like they're walking around and looking at it. So
Yeah.
that's cool. But
Was there someone that I don't remember?
yeah,
I've
I had
seen-
my
Okay.
cameraman Asher, who's traveled with me to like
Okay.
quite a few countries now.
So anyway, so it looked like it was first person, but you were walking through this dude who is so passionate about stingrays. And what's cool about these stingrays is that they were like $2,000 to $3,000 on the low end for like a little stingray, all the way up to like $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 for a stingray. They had like stingrays with different spots on them and like white ones and black ones and cool patterns. And one looks like a question mark on it. It's really cool stuff. But every square inch of this guy's spot was a stingray. Like you're walking on the floor over stingrays. The whole wall is a stingray. There's a stingray like above you. It was nuts. And every single stingray, he must have had like $1 million, $2 million worth of stingrays that he just breeds. And it was one of these things, it's like every moment he says something that's like, what? This is crazy.
$1 million to $2 million worth of stingrays?
Yeah.
Is the value in an expensive stingray because like you can sell it and people can enjoy it, or because you can breed it like a horse and you can like...
You can.
It's both.
It's both?
It's both. Yeah, like but it's more, I mean, on the economic side, it's definitely because you can breed it, and once you have it, you know, you can, it's like a horse in that sense. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. That's just like, there's so many different facets to aquariums. There's so many different animals, and it's not entirely like I've sort of gotten used to it now, like where there's a stingray guy, there's a flower horn guy, which is a different type of fish. There's clownfish guys, like, and they transform their entire homes to be these like insane breeding facilities. And that's the cool thing about, you know, when you kind of travel overseas, is a lot of those people, like, that's their livelihood, right? And so they are just like doing it out of their homes and like converting. I was once, when I was in Thailand, a guy converted an entire residential apartment building into like a flower horn fish. It's a type of fish, like breeding like place. And you literally 5 floors, and every floor I just was like,
Do you have footage of that?
I do. I have a whole video on it.
Alex,
How
please.
much? Yeah. How much is this guy making? Because the stingray guy, by the way, you go up to this unassuming building, like you would have no idea. The gate opens up. There's a brand new BMW i8 just sitting there, and this dude pulls out, shows you the stingrays. Like he's probably making, especially for that area, making bank.
And he ships all over the world. Yeah.
How much does a flower horn guy explain the flower horn?
You know, it's different, like animal to animal. What's kind of funny and interesting, the stingray guy. So what he does as a full-time job is he actually does car, like I don't know how to describe
Modifications,
it. Modifications
right, yeah.
on car, like really high-end custom mods.
Okay.
Because in Singapore, I mean, even to own a car in Singapore is like,
expensive.
yeah, just the taxes for like a really cheap Honda Civic.
The luxury tax.
Yeah, it's
50%.
insane.
It's not. Yeah, triple the cost of the car.
So he does that full time, and I asked him like, well, what do you make more money from, like the cars or the Stingrays? He's like, the Stingrays, and the Stingrays is just like a side thing.
Why does he just Stingray full time?
I don't know. I was like, why don't you just like open up like a whole breeding
Right.
facility? I'm not sure. But I think maybe he just really likes the stability in the cars.
What's some of the craziest stuff that you've seen overseas in terms of the business aspect of this? Like the Stingrays, that's incredible. The flower horns, I would imagine I haven't seen that video, but would be even crazier than that. Like what else have you seen?
I've seen like some markets, some like wholesale markets where in Asia, like on certain days of the week, they'll basically, like there was one called the Chatuchak market in Thailand, in Bangkok, where just like hundreds of vendors, like farmers, like individual breeders, like the stinger guy, clownfish, they'll show up, they'll basically like sit on the floor of like a parking lot and just like have fish out on display for people to come pick up. But then a lot of those people are like exporters that sometimes export them to the United States or other countries. Sometimes they're just like fish stores, but like, I've been in some markets that are like, they go for acres. Like we're talking about like acres and acres of just like the most exotic fish, many of which are even illegal in the United States to keep, which makes it so much more interesting for my American viewers is to see fish like arowanas, which
Why are those? Because I used to see those in fish stores.
Graham, I'm surprised you don't have an arowana. That's a fish that I could.
Cool fish.
It is a very cool fish.
But I would have to have an arowana tank. Now Macy wants a clownfish tank.
Does she?
Yeah.
Yeah, clownfish.
She wants a clownfish.
It's the
tank,
entry point for a lot of people in the hobby are clownfish. But arowana. So the arowana fish is also known as the dragonfish, and in Asia, it's like a sign of wealth and fortune and like prestige.
Oh, we got to get one.
It's dude. You got to flash a photo of them.
They're
so
cool looking fish.
Cool.
Yeah.
And they're big, they're shiny, and they became so like popular that they basically like fished them out of to extinction.
Really? I didn't know this.
And yeah, so they're I think the reason that they're illegal in the United States, Asian arowana, is because they're on like the CITES 2 or 3 list, considered endangered. So you're not allowed to have them here. In Canada, you can have them. But yeah, so like seeing those fish, and those fish can go for hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, I've seen arowana fish where they're like, yeah, this one's like $50K, $80K, $100K. So like, my most recent trip was Japan, and they're crazy over koi. So koi fish, which most people here just go to like their botanical gardens and see swimming, and they're like, it's a koi fish. Over in Japan, that fish is like, again, another just massive symbol of like good luck. And so there was a koi fish in 2018 that sold for $1.8 million. It was the most expensive fish ever sold.
Why was that fish so expensive?
It was like, so they do these koi competitions, and they do this for every fish, clownfish, flowerhorn, and we all the different fish. They have competitions for them to see, because the breeders want to know like whose fish are the best, and that also will help dictate the price on a certain fish.
Wow.
So, but like koi fish, there's so many different breeders. They enter these competitions, and this fish, I think it won grand champion like 2 or 3 years in a row, and it was just like massive. It was gargantuan. It was like I think it was like 2-3 feet. I mean, at that point,
the size,
it looks like a little pig. Yeah, it was like the size of like a small pig. So the size, the body shape, the coloration, the pattern, the colors, because all those things have to do with like the perfect koi. And believe it or not, the guy who bought it, the fish ended up dying a year later.
No, why?
It just, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot of information on that.
I don't know why this is worth so much. That's the fish.
It's so beautiful. Yeah.
So it's
that
just
looks good to me, man.
Jack's like, I want one.
I mean, it looks good, but I like if I saw that, I wouldn't think that's like the most expensive.
Yeah.
in show. I wouldn't think that's the best in show.
Screenshot that.
So the reason that one, there's actually a few different types, but the red and white varieties are like considered the best, and worth the most, because red and white, it's like the colors on the Japanese flag even.
Yeah.
They're just like, those are the colors that they value.
Wait, so when you say it died, we're talking about the fish.
The fish died. Yeah.
All right. For a second, I thought we were talking about the owner. The owner.
You're like, who gets the fish now?
Wow. I mean, the fish is big.
Yeah, it's a massive
The fish
fish.
is big.
It's a big
Yeah,
fish.
I mean it's a good looking koi fish. Like I've seen koi fish before, like at the local Chinese restaurant or something like that. That looks like a nice koi fish, but I don't know if I would say that's like a $2 million.
Wow.
To the average person, you know, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
You wouldn't. But to so many people who are like dedicated their lives to these subsections of the hobby,
Yeah.
it's like everything to them. You know?
Now the fish died. Do you know why the fish died? Is it do they have a life? Koi could live a long time, right?
So yeah,
it was 9 years old when it was sold.
yeah. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of information on why exactly it died. I don't know. Maybe the owner didn't want to reveal that or something. I'm not sure. At least to my knowledge, I don't know. But I will tell you, like, a lot of fish have pretty long lifespans. I mean, koi fish can live like 20 to 30 years on average. There's legend rumors that there's a koi fish that has lived to be like a few hundred years old. That's not typical. But even like a lot of marine fish, like a lot of the fish you have, I know Macy was asking yesterday or the other day, and they were really surprised by the lifespan of like a clownfish. I mean, clownfish live 15 to 20 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, even in your aquarium, I know a lot of different hobbyists who have been able to keep a clownfish for 15, 20 years. So, yeah.
Wow.
They have longer lifespans than I think a lot of people think. I think that's because most people get the goldfish that will get sick and die within like a few days or 6 months or something.
But when you buy a $1.8 million fish, you must buy it with the intention of breeding it, right? Because otherwise, let's say you buy it $1.8 million, you
It's a
only got
flex.
like, let's say 5 to 10 years with the fish. Probably, let's say 10 years, $180,000 a year to own the fish.
Yeah, I think it's just a flex. Like I think
That's all it is.
I think the same way
Yeah, he
Elon
probably
Musk.
had like so much money.
Yeah, I think the same way Elon Musk will just
Wow.
blow, crazy amount of money on something to flat. I mean, that's just what he did.
Have you ever got bit by a fish and you like bled?
No, it's funny now. You guys are gonna be like, I told you so, but my dad got bit by one of my piranhas.
The one that you say is safe.
It was an
because-
accident, right?
it was
The piranha
because-
didn't mean to.
And that's
It just thought his hand was food.
Right.
and you're actually right. That's exactly what it was. My dad, just the way he feeds them, was just like leaving his fingers in there, super like holding
like a
on to the
little
food. It's
worm,
like
yeah.
if you play with fire, you're gonna get burned. So I mean that was, but I personally have never gotten like stung or bitten by anything crazy, and I hope not to, because yeah. But most of the time it's on accident. I mean that's something else. Like so when I was in Asia, one of the biggest projects that I did was like a couple videos on sharks and what's happening to sharks right now, because each year over near 100 million sharks are killed.
100 million?
100 million.
Is that for the fin
fins.
soup?
for shark fin
How are there
soup?
that many sharks? 100 million? How is that possible?
And I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, that must just be like grossly inflated.
yeah.
When you think about China and their population, it's like, and then you take like a food that we have here in America and you,
Like hamburgers.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for them, shark fin soup was just like for the longest, it's on the decline now with more awareness and stuff, but
Right.
still like it's being sold.
Dude, I saw
And-
this. Oh, sorry. Go for it.
Well, and yeah, I was just going to say like, it's a much bigger issue than a lot of people think.
How do you?
So-
Oh yeah.
I was just going to say, I saw this video, I remember like back in middle school where they like wrangled a bunch of dolphins.
Oh, I can't.
What's that?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
that video was horrific.
Oh.
It was so tragic to
Yeah.
watch that.
I feel bad. I've seen some of those fishing videos where like they take up the fish.
Yeah,
and
they
there's like
have-
something that gets caught in there. Like nothing. It's not necessarily a dolphin, but it's something that, and it's just flopping. It's flopping on the deck, and nobody's like, put it back in the water. It blows. It's so easy. Just do that. Just do that, and the fish could live. And they just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, for
It's
them, it's just
nuts.
considered. I mean, obviously, it's their job, those fishermen, and it's food for them. And that was something I learned over in Asia as well. Is like I did a whole video on the shark fishermen who are collecting these sharks, and it's like, well, they're just literally doing it to provide for their family. It's like that's all they have.
But
So-
aren't there other foods that you could eat besides shark, or is it just like that's easy to catch, or
well,
what?
they get money for it because in China, shark fin soup is like a delicacy. It's a luxury. So they get like a premium for catching a shark versus a fish. So they're like encouraged to kill sharks.
It's the same thing for the meat market here, for meat production. It's like you just like people like eating steak. That's why we keep making it.
Yeah,
You know?
but at least with steak, I mean the cows are and that's a whole nother thing, but they're farm raised, right? Like they're born to be consumed.
Oh, true.
Like the sharks in the ocean, it's not like that. And something interesting too is like sharks, a lot of different sharks, sometimes they won't be ready to have babies. Like they won't be ready to breed for 10, 15 until they're like 10, 15 years old. Yeah. So if you kill too many sharks before they reach that age, like you really like, they say that sharks won't be around in 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Just due to the crazy overfishing of them. And there's a lot of marine life like that though. There really is.
What are the other sides of the aquarium world like this that you could tell us that might paint a worse picture? Like the sharks are importing illegal fish and coral.
Yeah.
What could we at least bring awareness to so that now more people know that this is happening?
I mean, I'd say first and foremost, some of those like bigger marine species like sharks and whales and all sorts of those bigger marine life, because they are the top of the food chain. And so if you take the apex predator away, which is the shark, I mean everything underneath just like starts just going. But for me, like one of the things with the hobby is that I've been really excited to see is aquariums is an amazing hobby. And yeah, there are a lot of fish that are imported from different places in the world, but there's also like a massive effort right now. It's not an effort, it's happening, of captive breeding fish for aquariums. So like all throughout the United States, and as you saw with the stingray video, people are breeding these animals and with the purpose of taking less from the ocean. So that's amazing. And there's also another, I mean, there's a lot of you've seen sort of the rise of a lot of environmentalists like just coming down and coming in on everything. And I feel like maybe the aquarium hobby has like felt that a little bit, but there are so many fish now being bred in captivity. So it's a really positive thing. And also coral too.
Yep.
People are farming, plants for their aquariums, coral for the aquariums. And it's a lot better for the fish too, because then those fish and those animals are raised under, certain conditions that allow them to live healthier and happier and longer lives in aquariums.
Yeah, that's what I like. Like Andrew, Sin City Corals, shout out, link down below in the description. But he's grown all this stuff in his huge, like 600-gallon tank. Just breaks off a little piece, puts it in my tank, and one day I could break off a piece for somebody else. Jack, when you set up your reef tank, I'll break off a little piece. I'll give that to you.
Thank you.
I'll give you a good price too. So let's go back to your business now. So you decided to give this a shot full time. How was that transition for you?
Well, it was exciting. It was something that I never thought was going to be possible. Like I said, my junior year of college, even actually up until my senior year of college, I remember sitting in my dorm room thinking, this is never going to work. Like this would be my dream job, but I'm never going to be able to go to my parents and tell them I want to do this full time. And then after my viral video, things changed. I was able to immediately like start understanding the whole algorithm, how that works, just the whole business side of it. And I picked up on it really fast. I think, it was a combination of me also just maturing as a person, like finishing college. Right. And I've been doing YouTube a long time, but I was also like living my life and growing up and like doing all the normal kid things. So I wasn't like intensely focused on how do I like crack this algorithm. Yeah. I was just like by sheer, like not chance, but by coincidence, maybe like I was hitting a lot of different like good things for the algorithm and like how to do it. Like my thumbnails and stuff like were pretty good. And like, sometimes I have videos that would blow up, a couple 100,000 views. But once I was able to like get a bunch of other YouTubers to like show me how much they were making and like why they were making that. And for me to realize, okay, you need a lot of views, like you need volume, right? To get, for all these, like the money to add up. That's when, I just like put it all together and I was like, okay, I can do this.
What did you want to do originally?
Well, my original plan, my original plan, like from high school is I really wanted to play professional basketball, not in the NBA, like overseas. So my dad is from Greece, and so like, you know, a dream of mine was to like go play in Greece for a couple of years and be by like some of my family out there and just like learn the language more and just you know, enjoy that. But college basketball, I mean, it was great, it was fun, but you know, by year 4, just all sports in general, they're very political. I gotten very burnt out of that, and just and I accepted the opportunity to YouTube very happily. You know, I was like, wow, okay, this is something very exciting, and also it was happening so fast that I didn't want to like miss it. You know, my channel went from like 60,000 to like 160,000 in a month or two, and so I think momentum is one of the most important things. So I wanted to capitalize on that momentum, and you know, basically about a month before I graduated, I hired my first editor, cameraman, and got straight to work basically.
How much were you making at the time that you graduated college?
Like what was my final like AdSense like month of college? I think I was probably somewhere like in the like 6,000, 7,000.
So if you're making $6,000 to $7,000 a month, I mean, I'm sure telling your parents that you wanted to do that full time out of college, it wasn't like a very difficult conversation.
No, it wasn't. It was definitely like, you know, they can see the number and say, hey, this is very like, you know, and they knew that that's what I wanted to do. I have just the most supportive parents, even from, as you know, like my mom going with the saltwater aquarium from the beginning. Like they knew that's what I wanted to do, and they were just like very happy to see me like doing it and also being able to earn good money doing it. I think my parents would have been okay with me like going out on a limb and trying to, you know, whatever I would want to do in my life. If I made no money from it in the beginning, like I have the type of parents that would encourage me to still go for it if that's what I was passionate about. So I'm really lucky for that. But also like one thing that I didn't mention was Aquashella, and that we started Aquashella Aquarium Festival my junior year of college, and
you got to explain what Aquashella is.
Yeah. Okay. So this is an interesting story. So basically throughout college, I was like getting paid to go to different aquarium conventions to do like their media, to do advertising for them. And I, you know, after about 2 or 3 of them, it just sort of got like boring to me. And I thought, hey, there's got to be like a better way than like this old traditional convention. Right. So, my friend and I, we saw there was actually an aquarium event that year, for whatever reason, it was like, I think it was mismanaged or something, decided to leave Chicago. Chicago being my hometown, I thought there's a massive opportunity here, right? Like they've been doing this event for 5-6 years. They've obviously built up this market. Don't know why they're leaving, but hey, like, why don't we capitalize this? So, now my business partner, but my good friend at the time, his name's Sean Hale. So he works as a manufacturer in the industry. And because he had been attending all these events as a manufacturer, who, you know, buying sponsorships to the events, buying booths to the event, he had that side of the industry on lockdown. He had lots of experience in that world. And he's a lot older than I am, actually. So he's 36. So he just been in business for a long time and had a lot of also good experience in just all, you know, corporate and other facets of business. But we started this event my junior year. We're like, okay, we need a name. So I was like, we need some really cool name. And Coachella was happening around that time. Naturally, I was like, why don't we do like Aquachella? Now,
No, I get the name. That's a good name.
You didn't get it before?
No.
So this is what happened. Yeah, but you might not have gotten it because what happened was about a month or two in.
I'm thinking cello.
Cello.
Like a cello, like a musical instrument, like a cello. I don't know.
A month or two in, we actually got a cease and desist from Coachella saying like, we have a Cella trademark.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and we had like used that first 2 months of marketing and like blown up because Coachella was happening at that time and everyone was like, Aquachella, like this is great. We got like 10,000 people on our Facebook page like right away. So it blew up like from the start, and with the marketing that I put behind it, it just like it was pretty close to like a instant success. What I do for the marketing?
Yeah, no. What did you do afterwards? They give you a season. Did you try to fight it at all? Or you're just like, all right.
So we pivoted. We're like, no, we're not gonna like fight this
Couldn't
giant.
you call it something else? Like, isn't there another way to spell cella?
Well, we pivoted.
Put an A with like little, you know.
Yeah, we pivoted
Pronunciation,
to Aquashella, which actually ended up being, I think, a better name.
better. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's sort of a blessing. But,
Yeah,
and
I
we'd
think
gotten
it's
the
fine.
marketing from Aquachella. So we changed it to Aquashella, and basically for the next 8 months, I was studying abroad at the time. So me and my business partner were on like different time zones, like big time. So I was staying up to like, I was supposed to be studying abroad, not playing basketball. That was like supposed to be my break, like just being with my friends out there, like traveling Europe. Instead, I sat in my flat in London and just got to work. And I just started grinding every day on this event, Aquashella. And everything I had learned up until that point, I just started pouring into the marketing. I was up probably most nights, I'd say like the average 6 a.m. Then I'd go to bed for like 3 hours. My classmates would like wake me up at 9 a.m. to go to class. I did that for like pretty much the entire 2.5 month study abroad term. And it was difficult, but I knew that I was building something that had like this massive potential. So then my junior year, I finished the study abroad, went back home. That summer, I just kept working on it with my business partner for like the next 3 months, all the way up until our first event, which was in September. We did our first event. We had like I think it was like 3,500 people come, almost 4,000 people attend. The first one in Chicago. It was like, you guys seen Fire Festival, like the documentary? Yeah. You've seen it?
Mm-hmm. Did you see it? No. Oh, it's a show, man. You gotta watch. It just gets crazier and crazier and crazier. Some of these things that they say, for those who are unaware, they sold out this event claiming to be like the top event in the world. People were paying like $5,000 to $25,000 per ticket to go to the Fire Festival that was going to be on Pablo Escobar's old island, but it turned out to be a giant scam. They got there and they were like hurricane tents instead of like luxury campsites. It's like and then what went viral. Someone posted on Twitter, it's supposed to be like this hand chef curated meal from like the best chef in the world. And it was this picture of a styrofoam plate with 2 pieces of bread on it.
Yeah.
And like a piece of bologna and cheese.
No, so they actually held it.
But you shouldn't be laughing. It shouldn't be laughing at this, but they get there and it's raining. Literally, it's raining.
Yeah, and it's like all these influencers, like, that paid exorbitant amounts of money to go there, be in these like cabanas, and it's just like a hurricane, and it's like chaos, nothing set up, and like basically the whole thing was just like being called.
I felt
got called off
so bad because the locals were really like, this was big business for them because they don't get tourists.
Yeah,
and so to have hundreds of really wealthy people flying in there spending money, they were paid like millions of dollars to set up for this thing, and it turned out that they had worked really hard. They didn't get paid. I mean, it was horrible.
Who threw it?
What was his name?
It was some guy.
It's probably better we not give him exposure. But anyway, this guy who's had a history of over-promising, under-delivering, taking money, shutting down businesses, getting investors all excited. He basically took all the money, spent it on himself, and then just whatever was left over, tried to make this as best as he could.
Yeah, he took like $5 million and then like tried to use like $50,000 to put on the event. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
But so that guy, that whole thing, that's exactly like I couldn't relate ever to anything more in my life. That's how setting up Aquashella felt for me. Yes, to that degree. Like
how much money you make? You bought the Lamborghini and
dude, I wish.
Bought the gold Rolex.
I wish. So
I'm kidding.
But it was chaotic. Yeah. It was chaotic putting on events of that magnitude for thousands of people.
How many people were involved in it? Just you and
me and Sean. We were like really that first event. It was just like us two.
Yeah, you needed like 20 people on that.
And we do now.
A lot of things you forget, like parking.
Oh yeah.
Security, food. Like all the little things that you would never even consider. Like who's going to check the tickets in the front? How many people do you need?
Yeah. And so like we almost died, like just from like exhaustion and just like stress. I think I must have aged like 5 years just in those few months. But we put on the event. We like barely, and like the event went well. Like obviously there were the hiccups. It's like the first one, but we like just barely managed to like get out of it, like, and be okay. And at the end of the day, we didn't really walk home with much money. Like we didn't walk home with much money. It was like we had a little bit of money left in the bank. We had a lot of assets though, to like the infrastructure for the facility, like the whole set and everything. And we had proven out this concept because it was like a very new thing. All the whole industry was like, what is this going to be? It's like, is this a rave or is this an aquarium convention? Right. They didn't quite understand it. And so we were able to like prove the concept, like, hey, this new way of teaching people about aquariums, getting people interested, you know, and making it an event where like anyone could attend and they would just like love it. They'd have a great time and just think it was like potentially like the most fascinating thing. So that was like the whole idea behind it. And Aquashella basically it's an aquarium convention, but it incorporates elements of like a music or art festival. And there's massive art installations, aquatic themed, like with like UV paint. So like under black light, everything's glowing. And it's just like, it's a way to get a lot of people interested in the hobby. A lot of the industry, they weren't sure about it, but all of the good deeds I had done for companies in the years previous, and also my business partner with, you know, same with him, it all came back. And in that moment, we were able to like cash in on all that good karma. A lot of people helped support that first one, but we didn't make a lot of money on it for the first one. So then my business partner was like, dude, we just worked 8 months on this event, unpaid, and we didn't really make much. Like, I don't know what you want to do. And I was like, now that we have all of the assets, we have the whole infrastructure, the set and everything, all we have to do is take this, pick it up, move it to a different city and run it there. And we should make money this time. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you're crazy. You're telling me like after 8 months, and he works his own full-time job as a manufacturer. He's like, you want to do this again? That was absolute hell. And you're telling me you want to do it again for another 6 months. So yeah, let's do it in your hometown. And so he's from Dallas. So we did our second one in Dallas 6 months later. And that was my senior year of college. Keep in mind, I'm still playing college basketball while I'm working on my YouTube channel, Aquashella, and school. Yep. So yeah, I mean, my senior year, we actually lined up the dates perfectly so that the event was going to happen over spring break. So I had off from school, and we did our second one in Dallas, and it just went crazy. Like, we were on Good Morning Texas. We had like 7,000 people show up. Wow. People were like, people were just coming up to me, like crying, like begging to get in. We had sold out. The fire marshal shut us down because we were like over capacity. Wow. It was just like, it was insane. It was crazy. And we
did you have a whole team that time?
We had grown a little bit more of a team. We had some of the artists. We had like some more staff. It's really interesting. After our first one, we had someone reach out. They wanted to buy a franchise in New Orleans. They're like, we want to do this in New Orleans. Like, will you sell us one? My business partner was like kind of entertaining. I was like, no.
Can you say how much they offered?
Yeah, I think they wanted it was like $35K or $40K for it.
But it's just a franchise, and then you would get to keep a portion of the profits too, right?
Yeah, I think there would have been like a royalty or something. Yeah. But I was like, hey, no, I don't trust anyone else to run this event the way we do. So we actually took that guy and we turned him into we brought him onto our team. He's actually one of our show managers now. And so that's been great. But yeah, we expanded our team, and the Dallas one, I mean, the line was insane to try to get it. I mean, it went on for so long, and but we did make money, and we made a good amount of money. And
how much?
Everyone wants to know how much. We made like, I'd say that first Aquashella we made like almost 100,000.
Wow. Split between you and your
almost 100,000.
And that's including the assets
including the assets, and we had actually built up even more assets because we had like built onto this set even more. So yeah, I mean, then I went back to college for my last 2 months of college. And that was a really interesting 2 months for me because like I went back to college immediately after being like submerged in this like, I think you know how it feels when
you can't go back.
You can't.
Yeah, you're surrounded by like children.
Correct.
It's like what's going on? This is weird.
Yes, you're like, oh my god! Like the conversations that a lot of my friends were having. Like I went out to the bar that weekend, and like people, Susie's like talking about the hocky player that won't give her a look.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
bro, did you see what happened last week with Spencer said, man? And you're just like, dude, I got better things to.
Right.
About.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really hard for me because I really I couldn't relate with anyone at college anymore. Like all these kids were doing these, not internships, but like internships or like gearing up for like, and I was just like, in 2 months, you guys are graduating.
Yeah.
Like, what are you guys doing? Like, get it together, man. Like, you're talking about the hockey player that won't look at you. Like, you have much more important things to worry about.
Yeah.
Like, so that was kind of interesting. And it was also like I had I was sort of depressed for like a week after that event because, well, I was depressed and I was happy, but you spend so much time, like months and months, just focusing on this one day of the year, how it's going to go. And then it just happens. And when it's over, just like it's over.
Did you miss it? Or
no, it was like
just
that.
Like,
and this is going to be weird that I'm comparing myself to this or what, but that feeling that like postpartum when women like have.
I don't know that.
No, you don't.
I've
know
heard.
that.
I've
Have
heard
you
of that.
heard of
Yes, I've heard of it.
Have you heard of postpartum when like women have their baby?
Yeah,
and they're just like
they
they
feel
feel like
of emotion, a flood of hormones, and
It's hormones,
feel,
right?
Yeah, hormones.
They feel like empty though because like they were carrying something for 9 months and then it's just not there anymore, and like they feel like something's missing. I've actually heard it on a lot of different podcasts, like business owners who sell their businesses for like $100 million, whatever. It's like the saddest days of their lives because they're just like, I got nothing to do tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like I just sold my company. Like, so they got 100 million in their pocket, but like they have no purpose. So like, I sort of felt that a little bit. And we actually now have coined it because it wasn't just me, like a lot of our staff got it and we coined it the Aquashella Blues. We had like grown ass men with like, who were like supposed to be doing like, with power tools, like crying after the event. Cause they're like, I'm going to miss you all. Like this was so crazy and so much fun. And like, so yeah, it's just like, it's become a really big team effort. And yeah, when I got back to college and that check hit my bank account, it was after basically a whole year of working on it. That along with my YouTube channel finally clicking, it was like everything had just like come together. And I was like, I just remember sitting in my dorm room and it was like kind of emotional because it just was like, I just figured it out. Yeah. And this whole time I didn't know what I was going to do after school necessarily. And that was my dream. So
how many do you host now?
We actually this year have expanded to our third one in Orlando. So besides, if you don't count the pandemic year, in 2 years, we've grown to 3, one in Chicago, one in Dallas, and one in Orlando. So the one in Orlando is coming up June 12th and 13th, 2021. And it's going to be crazy.
And then Dallas, you were telling me, is on Halloween?
Yeah, this year we moved Dallas to be on Halloween, and we're going to call it Aquashelloween. And so it's crazy.
Jack, we should go.
I think
I want to.
Dude, it's going to be cool because I think we're going to be able to incorporate elements of a haunted house into what is already very, like, has a bit of that element to it. So I think we'll be able to pull like a really ridiculous crowd.
You should get a clownfish as like the orange and the black and like something like that. Or what is it? The Achilles Tang?
Yeah.
Achilles Tang?
Well, I don't know if you've seen like some of the promotional like stuff we have, but
not for the Halloween.
We bought these massive inflatables for like to put outside the event spaces. So we bought this like 30-foot by 30-foot inflatable clownfish that just like sits outside the event. It's filled with air. And I mean, there's a lot of different things like that where my business partner has been like, are you sure you want to spend, that kind of money on something like that? I'm like, yes, like this is how you get people excited about an event, right? This is how you tell people like, and I think that also resonates with people. I mean, I think it's most of the time when you see people putting a lot of effort into something, like you're way more willing to buy into it. So yeah. You
know what George reminds me of? The Stradman of reef tanks.
Dude, I actually see that.
Yeah.
I actually see that.
Stradman?
You're the Stradman of aquariums.
Tell me about Stradman.
You don't know the Stradman? Wow.
Very positive, very genuine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Stradman has one of the largest car channels out there.
I'm not the biggest car guy, really.
Okay.
So that's why I probably don't know him.
But yeah, but of the car niche, you have like Doug DeMuro, you have another one, Daily Driven Exotics, and a few other ones. But Stradman's like near the top. And for the Reef Aquarium, I feel like you're the Stradman of the Reef Aquarium. Watch the Stradman, you're gonna see the resemblance.
You're very similar.
Like very similar.
The way that you talk and carry yourself.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's a compliment. Don't worry. It's a
I hope the Stradman's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's extremely likable.
He is.
Yeah.
So can you walk us through the numbers right now of your business?
Of my YouTube business or my
Everything.
Everything
we
you're
wanna know
comfortable
everything.
discussing.
They want the numbers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Start with YouTube.
We'll start with YouTube. Yeah. I mean, it's nice because I've built this foundation. My audience is education based, right? Like teaching people how to set up aquariums. So because I've done like everything really, because I always took the extra steps to like fact check everything I was saying and make sure like everything was the proper way to educate people. A lot of aquarium brands really respect my channel, which that's not always common with animal pet channels. So I mean, as far as sponsorships go, I've been able to like land some good long-term sponsorships. It's tough because like aquarium brands they're not gonna like want to pay as much as like a big corporate brand would, because they just like they're not used to working with influencers, right? So sometimes you really gotta like, I mean, that's been also part of like what took me I think so long to start generating more money for my channel, was just for them to like realize that, versus maybe some other bigger companies realize it quicker. But I mean, what do you want to know? Just like,
could you just give us
could we see your analytics?
Yeah, we could see your analytics, or just like an estimation of.
Do you want to just see it?
Yeah, I want to see it.
All right. You tell me. Now it's crazy. Like aquariums, like it doesn't have the CPM you guys have, which I'm very jealous of, because sometimes I feel like I am working very, very hard for like.
Let's see the views. Consistent views.
That's really good.
Oh man, look at that.
Are you going to like my yearly?
Yeah. Consistent. Well, just
the
last
time.
28. It's almost. It's like same views every day. That's really good. Same subscribers every day. That's CPM.
Yeah, it's just not as it's not nowhere near yours.
It's like 25% a quarter.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys, you trust me, you do not know how good you have it, because I think most of YouTube has my CPM. I'd say like 75% of YouTube is what I have. So you guys really are. I don't know if you like you just get not grossly overpaid, but like you just get paid so much more for the same amount of work that I do.
Well, this is interesting. 30% of your audience is in the United States. For us, it's like 85%.
Yeah. Now that went down. My US base went down a little bit just because like when I went overseas for almost a year doing different videos.
Philippines.
That's why your CPM is going to be a lot lower though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the CPM before I went and I did all these trips wasn't too far off though. And I know other aquarium YouTubers have a very similar CPM to me that don't make like travel content.
Yeah, but it's the audience demographics. So do they have like similar audience demographics as you?
I'm saying like
30% USA.
No, I'm saying like they're probably like 80% USA and they have the same CPM. Like it is the topic. Trust me, it is. I've like triple checked with pretty much every aquarium YouTuber, and I mean my CPM is what they make as well. It's not just the international thing.
So, but in addition to that, then you also have sponsorships supplementing that.
Yeah, so I have some sponsorships that I have on the yearly side, and again, like some of those I'll sacrifice on the dollar amount just because there's like a lot of good synergy with like what they can do for me, right? Like they can provide me with tanks or like. Lots of travel costs, or just like.
Do you want to give a shout out?
One of my biggest sponsors is Fritz Aquatics, and that's the company that my business partner for Aquashella, that's the company he works for.
Okay, so I got to say, you sent me the Fritz Turbo Start.
Yes.
To start my tank.
Amazing product.
Insane. You sent me an entire gallon that was shipped in like this temperature controlled box.
Yes.
To keep it cool, and I dumped in this bacteria that like. Turbo starts the tank as a cycle. Like it's the bacteria that you'll normally wait weeks to generate that you could start almost within like a few days.
They claim that you can put fish in there the same day as Turbo Start. They claim that because the bacteria they culture in their facility in Dallas is like, and they ship it refrigerated overnight. It's like so dense and it's just like so concentrated.
It was a cloud. I put this in the tank. It's just clouded the tank for temporarily. Obviously, it's all bacteria, but
it's their most popular product, and it's like a very easy product for me to promote as well, because like everyone when they're setting up tanks like needs Turbo Start. You can even throw Turbo Start in your existing tank just to like add the bacteria levels to like bring them up,
Yep.
which is you can never overdose it either. So, but like Fritz Aquatics is my longest one. And the way I met Sean, who is the business partner for Aquashella, he, it's so funny. So he was a sponsor for like a different aquarium convention. I remember he was like attending it as a sponsor with a vendor booth. And that show asked me to interview him since he was a platinum sponsor and I was the one doing the marketing. So like we still have his video, which is crazy to watch now, like 4 years ago, like us just sitting on some like Fritz salt buckets, like just talking. We both didn't realize at the time that would turn into a friendship that would then also later turn into now the biggest aquarium event in North America, which is Aquashella. So
I got to try the salt too.
Dude, the salt
I've been
is
using
amazing.
reef crystals.
Yeah, it's a big up. Yeah, it's a big upgrade from reef crystals. Reef crystals is a lot of the salts are very similar, but the bigger difference with Fritz salt is like it'll mix clear really quickly, and there's no residue in the container. It's like very it's like almost like a powder.
Okay.
So yeah, and I've used their salt in my tanks for years, and they've been able to grow their company. What's so interesting is now everyone wants to, like now every manufacturer I think really wants to do marketing and advertising with me. Fritz Aquatics got in like from the very start because I don't know what Sean saw something in me as like a young college kid when my channel was at like 10,000 subscribers, and he was willing to invest so I'm very thankful and I'm very loyal to that brand for that reason.
Of course, yeah.
We've grown together. It's like it's sort of like David Dobrik and SeatGeek. Like my brand, like with Fritz, is just they're synonymous.
Cool.
So yeah, it's one of my favorite. That's my favorite sponsor.
So you have the YouTube ad revenue.
Yeah, I got my YouTube
sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
Aquashella. It's taking place once a year.
3 times a year.
3 times a year.
3 times a year. Yeah.
How would you divide it? If you had like a pie,
Yeah.
what percentages would you allocate to different income sources?
I'd say like 50% of my revenue is YouTube. A third of my revenue is Aquashella, and the rest is like merch, sponsorships, and miscellaneous.
Cool. You were telling me too that you're diversifying into real estate.
Yeah, so that's what I've been doing with all the money that I'm making from YouTube, Aquashella. I've just really I've been putting it almost exclusively into real estate.
Why real estate?
Well, my dad is he's a real estate investor, and he's also just a serial entrepreneur. So he's been in so many different businesses in his life. I should just say he's an investor because he doesn't only invest in real estate. I guess he'll invest in kind of like you. You reminded me a lot of him when you're talking about I bought this car because it was such a good deal.
It's a good deal.
That's exactly how my dad is. My dad has bought some just the most random things and gotten into some very interesting business ventures just because they were very good entry deals, right? He stole them essentially. So, yeah, I mean, we were raised sort of with to have with that entrepreneur spirit, but also I think with a little bit of a mercenary mentality. Our dad always pushed us to make money. He's an immigrant from Greece. He came from nothing. And I mean, that was obviously very inspiring for all my brothers and I to see, for him to go, if you see the village that he's from in Greece and the fact that he was walking around at 10 years old there with no shoes, I don't even think he has a story that he didn't try a banana until he was 15 or something. And then for him to come to America and live the American dream, he's put a lot of that into us. And so, we were born to, raised with this idea, America is an amazing place with so much opportunity. Go get it, take advantage of it. It's also something I've been able to realize just traveling to as many countries as I've been to. Cause I think now I'm at 25 different countries. And, yeah, when you go out there and you see different parts of the world, you'll come back to realize just how much opportunity there is here. And there's a lot of people that say the American dream is dead. I mean, it's not what it was maybe for immigrants 20, 30 years ago, right? With the doors wide open to certain industries, but still America so much more opportunity than the majority of other countries.
How were you able to manage real estate, doing all that at the same time? You own rental properties, flips?
It's actually it's all commercial real estate. So, I mean, my younger brother has actually he's here.
Where is he?
My younger brother?
Your younger brother's here?
I do have a younger brother, and his name is Yanni.
I heard a rumor that if you say Yanni 3 times in a row, he shows up. Let's try it. Ready? Yanni, Yanni, Yanni.
Whoa! Yanni!
Hey guys.
Welcome.
What's going on?
This is my younger brother Yanni.
Mike.
This is my younger brother Yanni.
Jeez.
He
Hey.
he's 2 years younger than me, but
He has a robe.
he's like
You're right.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
What kind of robe is that? It looks like Versace.
It looks like Versace. It's not as expensive because of the amount of money I lost at a casino this weekend. But yeah, turned out it's my last friend's 21st birthday, so I came to Vegas, and it's good timing because we got a real estate guru right here.
Cool.
And that's what we're getting into.
I want to hear about the real estate between you two. So what have you bought?
So the niche that we found is industrial properties, and basically what we do is tour a lot of them and make really low offers. So we make really good deals happen somewhere where we can find a single tenant for an industrial property. So like auto repair shops, car washes, garages, and they're really just low maintenance properties. So it's perfect for him, and it's perfect really for
anyone.
anyone. It's not like it's exclusive to anyone, but
One of the reasons we like these like commercial that niche that Yanni just said is, like he said, they're very low maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So what we found is that if you buy like a commercial piece of real estate with an elevator, you are going to constantly be getting phone calls about the elevator not working, or like the air conditioning units are like not working. Like there's, as you know, there's a lot of different problems that can come up with real estate. And if you can't predict them, and sometimes can even be very expensive fixes, right? So we realized that like garages are the type, like it's an interesting property type because the people who are using garages are mechanics. They're handymen. So if their air conditioning unit goes out or anything isn't working, they don't call you. They'll just fix it themselves. And so it's like one of the lowest, I think it may be the lowest maintenance type of real estate to buy. And that's why we were so attracted to it.
But yeah, like George was talking about earlier, our dad has, he's like involved in almost every business you could possibly imagine. And through 40 years of doing real estate, he's just got so many headaches from so many different things. So finding this, this niche where you really don't even see your tenant for a year or two after you sign a lease, it's just worked out perfect for him because he can put the money in and not really have to manage the properties, which is also some there's another niche that we're looking forward to. It's like foreclosure properties, where I think a lot of people want to look for like flips, but something we're thinking about doing, which we can't because of COVID right now, and the courts are closed. We can't get eviction notices to get people out because we want to rent them out for Section 8 housing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how many properties do you have now?
I have 3. So I have 3 garages.
I have 5 garages.
5 garages. How much you guys making from this?
Each garage is about, I think we net about.
So they're net leases, and the tenant usually pays $5,000 rent is what we look for.
And then what's your take home after that? After, well, I guess you're not paying taxes or anything on that, but do you have to pay insurance?
No, so actually
You pay insurance.
Well, they pay the rent and the property taxes.
Right.
Just triple net.
Yeah.
Triple net, yeah.
So we basically, I mean, it's about net $5,000 per property a month.
To you,
No, but you
like
have, like,
mortgage. Like, there's
mortgages.
got to be a mortgage.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
between
we put about 25% down.
So what's the cash flow like on these?
oh, it's very good. You're looking at each year like sometimes like 20 to 30% potentially. It's like
Okay,
unbelievable.
so on 5, you're walking away with about $2,200 a month net to you in your pocket.
I'd say it's closer to like 3. I'd say it's close to like
$3,000 a month
per property.
Yeah.
So 3 times $9,000 a month from rent in these properties net.
Mm-hmm.
25%
So I'd
down.
say like, so it's a great return because each property, I think mine, the average cost of mine is about between like 175 to like 300, between like 150 and $300,000 is like the average property cost. And then you take home about 60,000 a year. So
That's really high ROI. What areas?
well, so we're doing it in Chicago, but these properties exist everywhere, which is really a cool.
Wait,
thing.
how is that? Wait. So let's say $300,000. It's renting at $5,000 a month, triple net. So 5, what is it? 60. So you're getting a 33% ROI.
You have to
on a
understand.
garage?
Yeah, so you have to understand though how hard we work for these properties. So there's a lot of people that will go out and they'll buy like they'll buy like a lot. Well, they'll be very aggressive, right? On like a really nice looking piece of real estate or something that looks really good. There's always a ton of buyers. Even right now with the housing market, like people are not overpaying, but giving like 10%, 20% over asking price, right? So it's the same idea with like most real estate. However, what we do is like we play the waiting game. And so what we'll do is like we'll put in an offer, which is like very, very low, sometimes so low that they'll badmouth us. They'll get on the phone and just say, piss off, right? But then we'll just kind of hang around. We'll stick around. And like 6 months later, we'll be like, hey, what do you think about our offer still? And they will sometimes still tell us to piss off up until like, and it can go for like sometimes like 12 months, like up to like what's some of the longest ones. Like
the thing is there are so many of these industrial single tenant properties. I mean, if you take your car and you drive around Chicago, every single corner is going to have one. Every corner.
Yeah.
So every week we're setting up meetings to go see. I mean, he's not doing it so much, but I'm setting up meetings to go see these properties. And after a day, I'll get a list of the equipment and then I'll submit an offer. And whatever the asking price is, I do 50%. So
Jeez.
if they're asking 500,000,
they just got to double their price. They got to double their price. Then all of a sudden you'll offer for them asking. Instead of 500K, I want $1 million. Be like, all right, 500K.
So, I mean, it's a waiting game. What ends up happening is like, because Yanni's going out and making so many, like not so many offers, but just like making a decent amount of these offers on basically, most real estate or people will say like, how do you ever buy real estate then? Because no one will actually accept that offer. But like once in a blue moon, not even a blue moon, like just every once in a while, like 12 months, like you find like a really that's the key. That's the key is you have to find a very motivated seller, right? Someone who is like, wants the cash right away. Like, I don't know, maybe like their spouse who owned the building, like died and like, they don't know what to do with it. They don't even know how to manage it. They just want to get rid of it, liquidate it. So you have to find a very motivated seller. And sometimes that typically happens after 12 months of them not getting their asking price. Right. So, and then sometimes they'll accept it. And so you jump at it. But what happens if you put in enough of these offers, like your offer, it's like the deals that you're making are on offers that you started sometimes up to a year ago. So it kind of takes some time. Right. Yeah. But eventually once you are doing it long enough, like you just start getting, time catches up, right?
Yeah. The risk here is that if you get a tenant, someone moves out, finding a replacement tenant could be difficult. Yeah.
Isn't always actually a problem because for a lot of these properties, it's their owner users. So you find the motivated sellers from the sellers when they're retiring from using the shop. So they're looking to get out of the business. And additionally, they leave all the equipment behind.
Yeah.
So it's not so hard. Like we've gotten some of these properties where there's no one. We need to find a tenant, but all the equipment's inside. So for 2 of them, I just picked up the phone and like we're aggressive. We take an aggressive stance on everything we do. So I'll just call around every surrounding neighborhood, every area, and I'll talk. Or I'll ask to speak to the owner or manager, and I'll say, hey, we have another turnkey operation business. We're just investors looking for a tenant. All the equipment's inside. we need a security deposit and first month's rent, and you can get going right away.
Good business.
Yeah, this is very good business.
Keep doing that. What do you about to say, Jack? You about to say something?
Nothing. That's nuts.
Yeah.
30%. That's just
Jack, that's what you should be doing. Do that.
what? You're
Do
gonna
that.
encourage me to do that?
Listen, 30%.
That's shocking.
30%.
Yeah, that's time away from
That's-
work, Graham. That's shocking.
Not if it's triple net.
That's true. True. So I heard we were kind of chatting before filming this podcast because he wasn't wearing socks. Okay. And it's kind of an issue because if our guest isn't wearing socks or if one of us isn't wearing socks, including you,
always wearing
Graham.
socks.
Yeah, but your socks last episode they had a hole in them, a
they?
big hole,
Do they really?
and we got some comments
I don't
because
know.
your feet were poking through. Yeah, we got comments about your feet. So I
like how Brooks starts recording as soon as we're talking about my feet.
So I let you borrow my socks so you could cover up your feet, right? And I said we get a lot of comments about the feet on this podcast, so everyone usually wears socks. And then you said that you've sold.
Well, I mean, if you're getting, you guys were speaking about people messaging you to buy the pictures of your feet. On
I didn't
Instagram.
say no. Your
Someone
brother
was saying it.
George was saying.
This is what happened. So I sat down on this couch, right? And I didn't come here with socks on because I'm enjoying the heat in Vegas. I'm from Chicago. So then as soon as I asked, well, are my feet going to be in the shot? And they said, yeah. And I said, oh, no way am I doing this podcast with no socks on.
at least not for free, right?
No, at least not for
to
free.
pay me. And how much did you want? You said, Jack, you have to pay me if you want to see my feet.
Yeah. No.
And Jack just said, how much?
Yeah. You'd have to pay me a lot. Actually, I feel like you could easily get Yanni to do that for.
Look, man, I'll use it as my down payment.
Yanni's an entrepreneur. Whatever
Yeah.
it takes.
Yanni is
There's a price.
opportunist.
Wait, so people have actually asked. They've asked for feet pictures from you for money.
Haven't they asked you guys?
No.
Some guy wanted to buy my shoes, and I think I'm going to be doing it. But the only thing is that we got to get the offer higher because he offered a price where it's like it's the cost of the shoe.
Oh,
So it's
yeah,
like
no.
I'm not going to send him shoes worth the
No,
price
it was
he's willing
more.
to pay.
Wasn't it like $400?
No, it was less. It was under that. We're not gonna give the exact price because we don't want to lowball ourselves here.
Right.
But it was a price. It was like that's the cost of the shoe. At a certain price on a pair of shoes I don't like, maybe haven't worn a little bit. I'll send them off.
There's a price for everything.
So
Yeah.
so what
thought-
was your
I'm
experience with the?
By the way, I'm trying to sell my bath water. It's on GrahamSteffenStore.com. $5,000. No one has got it yet.
We should
No,
make
it's
will.
a gallon too.
We-
It's
yeah,
not just a
gallon
cup. It's
of
one
bath.
gallon.
Think of shipping on that.
I have
Yeah.
an idea.
How much are you asking? I could flip it.
$5,000.
Why don't we use that for an aquarium?
What?
Graham's
bath
bath water
water.
in an aquarium.
Yeah.
Would it be safe for a human just to dip in an aquarium?
That's what you're wearing. You don't want to wear like sunscreens and stuff like that.
It's
Yeah.
inside. Why would you wear sunscreen if it's inside?
If you're outside with sunscreen,
the chemicals.
like,
Yeah.
chemicals in the aquarium.
But I mean, I don't know. I thought it was just common. It was funny because when we got, I thought it was common. Like every influencer gets like asked for feet pics.
So you've gotten asked. Did you sell your feet pictures or? It was just like,
It's
I did
okay if
not.
you-
I did not. Although it is very, very tempting sometimes.
Do you know what
because
their
like
price
what was the
I feel
highest
like
offer you
I
got?
feel like it wouldn't. Highest offer was like I don't know, like a few $100. Maybe.
Wow, dude, come on.
It's
what
like
if, what
that's
if,
the- that's the
what
thing.
if your
That's the
face
thing.
isn't in it though? What if it's just like
That's what I'm saying is like
Yeah.
it's so, to me at least, it's innocent. Like, A, how are people gonna know they're my feet?
Right.
And then B, like whatever. If people like are into feet, like I don't care. You can be into whatever you want. Like $300 for like some photos that really do
take you a minute.
They take me like even less than a minute. They take me 10 seconds. And I mean,
You probably want to
I
do
don't
them
know.
up a little bit. You
it's
don't wanna-
tempting, but I knew immediately what you were referring to when you're like, oh no, George, like you better get some socks.
Yeah.
On. And I was like, bring me some socks. I don't want the feet people.
the feet?
I don't want them. I want them to. They better. I don't know. I'd rather than
Yeah.
focus on the conversation.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
better be
I'm sure
careful
my
with
feet
what
are.
you're saying. You're about to get a
Yeah,
lot
man,
of
that's
feet
a-
pic
It's
requests.
good.
That's a strong community.
Listen, this for the feet people out there. We should be getting a percentage of this because this right now is free promotion. So if you sell any feet pictures from this,
We'll link
we
it
want-
down below
We
in the
want
description.
10%.
Yeah.
10% of gross.
10%?
10% of gross.
That's
for
too much.
driving traffic. You could set up an Instagram,
For your
George's
feet.
feet. And then
A Patreon.
That's just
Patreon.
too much.
OnlyFans for feet.
Yeah. And OnlyFans for feet.
We just want 10%. Whatever business you decide to do with
Dude,
your feet.
we're getting 30%, Graham.
What do you mean?
We're getting 30%. We don't want.
Wait, we're giving you the traffic. We'll take 30%.
No.
Wait, what's
I said we're getting 30% on real estate. We don't want.
Oh, we're getting, I thought you said getting 30% of feet
Yeah,
pictures.
we get 90% of the feet.
Nah.
That's true. That's a good answer.
Too little time in my day, honestly.
To take a picture of your feet? Jack will do it for free.
Graham, would you sell photos of your feet? What is
For the right price, I would.
What is that price?
Oh, jeez. I mean, honestly, $1,000. If someone
$1,000?
Why, is it a lot or a little?
Yeah, that's a lot of money. $1,000, dude.
so-
Literally someone says, Jack, I
That's
want to see
my feet.
Dude, I see your feet all the time, bro. I see them all the time.
You must
Not
have
in a
some
picture.
pretty nice
You don't
feet,
have a
Graham.
picture.
They're all right.
You don't have a picture where you could look at it all the
Dude,
time.
I could get one when you're not looking. It would be so easy. Dude, I would sell a
Probably.
picture of my foot for $20. Like, literally, it takes me 10 seconds. Why does it matter?
Okay,
It's not
for
weird.
me, $1,000 is a price where if it ever got out that I had sold pictures of my feet, no one could ever look at that and be like, I wouldn't have done. I wouldn't
Dude,
have done
people
that.
would pat me on the back. They would applaud me for being
everyone would
entrepreneurial.
understand.
I have a better idea.
$1,000.
Guys, I just set up an email. GrahamStephenFeet@gmail.com.
Okay,
Okay, so we got grahamstephenfeet@gmail.com, $1,000, and I
any
will
feet
send you a picture of my
inquiries,
feet.
even if it's someone that's just associated with us, Andre.
Oh,
If
you
you
know what I
want
could do?
pictures of feet of
You know what I
Andre,
could do
let us know in your price.
To prove it's my feet is they could have me write something on my foot that only they would know. It's like a timestamp, like initial blank.
I have.
No, your
I have a
face would
better
need
idea.
to be in it.
We're gonna come out with the
face,
Graham
yeah.
Stephen foot NFT.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That's what we're doing.
All right. If I sell 10 pictures of my feet, I'll reinvest that money back into creating some sort of NFT. One of
For
one.
your feet.
One of my left foot. I want to save the right one in case I need it. But one
Is there
of
a
one,
better one? Do you have a
left
better
one.
foot?
What?
Do you have a better foot?
No, they're the same thing, but it's like I'll keep one foot to myself.
What kind of toes do you have? You know how
What?
people have like different types of toes. Like
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the middle one will be out more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
no,
don't want
no,
to spoil
no.
the secret, man. You don't
Yeah,
want
actually, let's not
you know-
spoil the secret.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
let's
was
not
gonna
spoil
say
the-
something that would reveal the type of foot I have, but I
Yeah.
just didn't want to spoil the secret. Did you actually create the email? GrahamStephenFeet@gmail.com. We created
Yeah,
the
we
email.
created the email. We actually did create the email.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised, but I just making it clear, money has to be paid up front. Don't worry. I mean, it's not like
We're not gonna-
we're
yeah.
not gonna go back on our work, but it'll have to be sent up front before I send anything. So I think that's fair.
Yeah, or me, or Alex.
Yeah, Jack's only $20, so
Well, we'll see.
Graham
20
Stephen feet. We'll get
That's
get
good.
Jack.
See, that's enough to go get a nice meal. And if I can pay for a meal in 15 seconds
Jack
by
in the
taking
box.
a photo.
All right,
Yeah.
deal.
All
All
right.
right, cool. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. We'll link to all of your information down below in the description where you could also get feed pictures. Make sure to also destroy the like button, subscribe button, and notification bell. And also, you can get a free stock worth all the way up to $70 when you sign up for Public using the link in the description. Code GRAHAM, $70, and you'll have a chance to win a completely free stock of Tesla. So you may as well do that. It's pretty much like free money. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time. See, now you're loosened up. Now you're going to kill it. You're good.
All right.